Hello, welcome back, ladies and gents, here to the FACEIT stream here for the FACEIT LAN finals. And I am quite curious to see how this next match is going to go. Because Cloud9, they dispatched Kinguin. Now they must dispatch of NaVi.
They did, but before we get into that, Producer Reese needs to announce the winner for the Bison. And we need to identify what we're going to do.
Who will want to kill me?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Don't mind me, I'm just under the desk. So.
The winner of the Bison is Mr. Peaky.
Mr. Peaky. Very apt name. Threat, what are we doing after this game?
Should we spin it?
Yeah, that's the plan. It's a Bison. Nice.
Wrecked. Someone got wrecked.
She's great. Let's just do the knife after this. I'm not going to do Bisons all day. That's boring. Or maybe I will. Who knows? So, C9 versus NaVi.
Yes.
What do we think?
It's very map dependent, I guess. This one. So on paper, I think it's hard to ever bet against NaVi right now because NaVi are very consistent at the moment. We saw just recently them play Virtus Pro and Overpass. They looked pretty consistent there. Their usual form. Zeus is playing out of his mind, which is actually quite interesting to see. It's not common. It's not commonly a big game performer for their team. Usually it's going to be Guardian who's the first point of call, then maybe Edward, players like this, and then flamie. But Zeus was stepping up, and so I'm going to say that I feel like, depending on the map, it's going to be NaVi. I'm going to go 70-30. Okay, it's Cobble, so I still think NaVi 60-40, I think, for me.
It's very, very tough. I would actually favor NaVi more on this, maybe 70-30, 80-20, in favor of NaVi.
In favor of NaVi, okay.
And it's very, very close.
I think that this is not one of Cloud9's more practiced maps. So this should be a W for NaVi.
Another thing we have to remember is that they, of course, Cloud9 should have a lot of focus on NaVi because they recently played a grand final against them, a big tournament, so they would have studied them quite a lot. So if there are edges to be had from a studying perspective, that Cloud9 should be able to deal with that. They should have been able to identify some weaknesses there. And also against a team like NaVi, I think that they should be able to identify what's most likely in a veto to be actually playing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And the way NaVi plays the siege side on Cobble is they usually boost Edward on B, next to that tree that's covering the B plateau, and that's very easy to counter if you have a good operator like Skadoodle who can just go for the peaks and slowly push out the B plateau, kill Edward, and then they have the entire B side.
So we're going to get into the game now, and I was just thinking to myself, like, like this is one of, from what I know, this is one of Cloud9's less practiced maps, but this was, they had 3 vetoes each, and they chose not to veto it over other maps. Maybe they're trying to remove NaVi's strongest maps as a priority, but they must, like, if this, like this, I thought it was a weaker map for Cloud9 than it turned out to be, as you saw in their performance against Fnatic. Although worth mentioning, they did break the C2 economy very quickly indeed, which is definitely an important point to note. But nonetheless, they've opted for it to, I guess we might have a small delay before the GoTV relay resumes. But obviously, I think it must be stronger than I thought it would be for them. Otherwise, they would have vetoed that over another map, surely. Because otherwise, they would expect to just be completely exploited on the map and then lose, which is not what they want.
Yeah, I mean, as far as this goes for you, Threat, like, what do you expect from NaVi? Like, what do you think the breaking points will be? What is, like, you already mentioned Edward, that's like one, and I always like, if someone can, because you have of course experience playing them, and you look out for this kind of stuff more often. It's always kind of cool to find potential breaking points and then see if they will actually happen. Like in the last match on Overpass, we had like a few of those which we highlighted before going into the game, and it turned out to actually came true. So do you have any more?
Well, as I said earlier, I think it's going to come down to how you defend the B plateau. And I mean, we've seen Edward being boosted a lot at the tree. In some games, he's actually playing hyper aggressive. He's up without a smoke on the B plateau, just challenging all the Ts. Maybe that will not be as effective versus Skadoodle's AWP. So I actually think it's going to come down to how Skadoodle can punish Edward playing that B plateau.
Okay, so the focus should be on the B plateau. Well, we shall go into the game, my friends.
The tree position is very useful for avoiding most of the flashbangs that are thrown into the into the B bomb side as well, but we'll see how that plays out as this match begins. So
no kits on NaVi.
yeah, and that's interesting because this map has a longer and more difficult rotation, you might say, than Dust 2, for example. But we'll see how things go. Guardian with some big information to start off with.
Yeah, here he goes. They don't know where he is. He's not been discovered yet, and that still seems to be the case as he is able to get a lot of free shots off, and finally he is challenged by the Skadoodle. But the Skadoodle is still having some issues here with Guardian, who's the last man standing, and Guardian, despite his position, only got a single frag, and it was nothing who would pick up the quad kill to secure the pistol there for Cloud9. That was very odd. NaVi should have won that pistol, really.
Yeah, it's an odd decision there from Guardian to try to go for what starts to shoot them in the back when he's in a position where he cannot fall back. Usually you want to be in a position where you can kill a player, then you fall back. So let's say he would have stayed hidden in A long, they would have had to worry about Guardian from that angle as well.
Yeah, so maybe he overplayed his hand there and ended up chipless. Fast play into the underpass, but Zeus will be the one to find a first frag and a second with just one magazine of that CZ, but Cloud9 recovering well for now. flamie and Guardian remaining. The 5-7 coming in now. Guardian's on the dig, no less. So things getting a bit awkward for Cloud9. The bomb's going down, and a P90 has been picked up. Now Sean Grills is in a bad situation.
Yeah, just MP7 and lacking on HP. Just one shot could do it, and wow, they survive with 2 players. Zeus, though, really locking down the drop area is of course the key moment in that round. And this, would you feel like that was a mistake for Cloud9 just to rush drop so heavily, or do you think it just stellar play by Zeus?
Maybe it's a counterplay because they watched some demos. I know they did the same thing versus Cloud9 at ESWC, so maybe it's just some kind of counterplay because usually you want to slow. They're actually going for it here again.
All right, well, can they be successful with the techs? And apparently so. fREAKAZOiD gets the entry onto Zeus. He's down straight away. In comes the spray. The flamie lays down, and it's not exactly working out all too well for NaVi so far. They are down a man. But are they out just yet? It's hard to say. Edward will pick up a kill onto Skadoodle, and finally Cloud9 players are starting to fall one after another. Again, like dominoes, it's going to be a cleanup here. And NaVi survive even with 3 players. I thought that could have been a really crushing round by Cloud9 there.
Yeah, great round from NaVi, and this means, of course, that Cloud9 will be forced to a full eco, which then means NaVi is very likely to build a big bank here. We only see a few P250s and a smoke on... Did you throw the smoke in spawn?
That's just not. When things are not going your way, smoke off spawn.
Interesting.
But look at that timing there with those grenades from NaVi. Very nice indeed. Keeping their distance, but the C9 players are headed towards B. They will be facing a Tiger with a P90. Not something you see every day. Tiger's bad enough with that, the P90. Great nade there, which will make it even easier. Oh, how many dinks was that? That was absolutely ridiculous from Skadoodle. 2 frags from Zeus though with the MP9. It's going to be good money for him, but only sees everyone's dead, Dan. What's going on?
I have no idea. I have no idea what just happened. They didn't have any investment at all there. I don't know how that is possible, but it happened, and that's going to completely decimate NaVi's economy. They have to go for a force-up. Cloud9 can just take so many rounds from this. If they win this one, they can get so many because NaVi have nothing in the bank to play with.
I have no idea how Skadoodle got that kill. Edward let the first guy just pass because he didn't spot him. Then Skadoodle, for some reason, it looked like he pre-fired that angle.
Yeah. Just ding, ding, ding. He was ringing all the bells there. It's like a Game of Thrones episode. No spoilers. So, Cloud9 with the 4 AKs, and now they've got the P90 back on Skadoodle as they have numbers towards the B bomb site. However, they have Edward to contend with, maybe angry from the previous round. Coming in with the scout there. Support and reinforcements on the way. Now present. flamie with a nice shot onto fREAKAZOiD. Trace coming in for both teams, and Cloud9 in danger of losing once again. Only nothing remains with all of 10 HP. I've got a digit for each pixel of life he's got, Dan.
That is very reassuring. But also, what is happening right now? This is just force buys back and forth, back and forth. Cloud9 are almost kind of committed to keep doing it at this point as well.
5k on Skadoodle. They could actually, they're going for the force buy. I actually like this. Glass cannon.
I like that.
Skadoodle is merely in his boxer shorts. Now, he has no protection. He's just got the big green gun. And 4 Tech 9s for the flying V. Again, now can NaVi stop the trades?
That Mighty Ducks reference, though. I respect that. Alright, so it's going to be Cloud9 slowly making their way in. Now we've got the control going down into mid by Sean Gares. You will find nobody, though. NaVi are playing it very defensively. They know the kind of shenanigans that Cloud9 can throw at them. They know that their money is terrible, that they could be up against either a Force or an Eco. So they are just they're not taking any chances here. They're just playing it far back. But they don't have much in the way of grenades now, and Cloud9 are looking for that B finish. But will it be a finish with a flourish, or will it be a finish with a crash?
54 seconds. Still lots of time for C9. Let's see how long it takes NaVi to discern exactly what is going on. We have some initial grenades, but it's all quiet in T main as the push begins. Skadoodle gets the first frag onto flamie. He's going to be flashed off. Lots of counter flashes coming in from the CTs. Edward with great crossfire there. Going to take out Sean Gares as he comes out of the drop zone, looking for another frag, but Skadoodle still on point. There's a third frag for Skadoodle, looking for a fourth. 2 CTs remain for him to find, and they're finding frags elsewhere. 2 versus 2. Shroud needs to come good for his teammates, but he's not going to do it. C's finding the frag, bomb being smoked off. Down to Skadoodle to clutch. He needs to ace this round. Repositioning now, taking down C's. Just Zeus remaining with 8 HP. Skadoodle going for the Glock. He must know he's tagged. And he's going to find the ace for his team and trade rounds once again here for Cloud9.
Wow, Skadoodle again. This guy doesn't cease to deliver.
Wait. He aced on the T side of Cobblestone with no armor.
No armor, just sending in the minions.
He's naked.
Sending in the minions, all the Tech 9s in first. I loved how he jumped off the plateau immediately. That's really smart that he did that straight away to play the corners, because he can obviously get a surprise frag, which is very important in a spot like that. But we got the 3-3 scoreline with Cloud9 looking to finally cement their economy, but they just have to defeat NaVi. They've only got a Caesar, the PT50, 3 PT50s, and a USP. Surely it shall be now that one of these teams claims some momentum in this Cobble match.
That's Skadoodle's second ace of the day, at least.
Of the day.
So, NaVi's turn to trade rounds again. This is getting a bit crazy here, but very entertaining indeed. 4-man stack from the CTs over towards the B bomb site, with only Zeus towards A bomb site, with only Zeus towards B, and it will be down to him to try and keep control of the drop zone at the same time.
But I think to be careful here. Could get caught on the reload. Always very dangerous. Now these pistoling players of NaVi aren't going to hazard, I guess, just yet. They're pushing through, but no, maybe they are. They're going straight in, but nothing had time to reload. He had time to spray him down, and there's surely no chance here for Guardian. He does get spotted. He gets eliminated, and Cloud9 have themselves an almost flawless round. So money in the bank. NaVi should really eco at this point.
Yeah, they should go for the double eco, and they should actually use this time to discuss how they should handle Skadoodle's AWP there on the B plateau, because you could see how easy it was for Skadoodle to just push out the B plateau, get frag by frag. If the seed is playing defensive, you have to be aggressive versus that AWP on the B plateau, and that's not easy as well, because the T's can just wait for the smoke. They can nade through the smoke, so they have a lot of options. So it's going to be really interesting to see what NaVi will do the next round.
Yeah, here we go. We got the Skadoodle himself moving forwards with the AWP.
Boom.
He's got teammates as a landmine placed by Skadoodle himself onto Edward, and that is almost everyone dead. Seized is the last man standing, and he's looking to get some cheeky frags in at the back. And he's going to spot the bomb, but it's not going to help him all that much. He will get a kill, which is nice, but another round to Cloud9, and he's losing 2 members. They're more than happy with that. And here we go, double AWP. What do you think about this threat? Tell me now.
As CG on Cobblestone, I don't really like it. Maybe they have a special plan on how to stop the B plateau push. So maybe that's why Edward has an AWP. Maybe they're going to try to play defensive. They will let Skadoodle think they're playing passive with M4s and just surprise him with a defensive AWP. Maybe.
Okay. We'll see if NaVi can stop the leak, or if they will be more like Titanic. Guardian going down first, so that's one of the AWPs out of the game straight away. C's taking some damage there. You will throw a counter nade, but meet nothing, no pun intended. Oh, he's made a run for the AWP, but he's been called out by the fire of fREAKAZOiD, and Cloud9 will capitalize on that and move towards A. Going to leave Shroud lurking towards B. He's going to be looking for rotators and running distraction at the same time. That smoke not going where nothing wanted it to. The lurker's been taken out by Zeus. Nice play there from NaVi, but this retake's going to be next to impossible with these positions from Cloud9. Post-plant, smokes in the connector area. Every angle should have eyes on it for Cloud9, so NaVi will probably be a good idea for them to save here. So he's just going to hold the checkpoints for a little while, but he's going to back off as well. And NaVi make their exit. Good T score so far for Cloud9. Do you favour the T side on this map?
Slightly. I mean, it's that kind of map like Cash or Dust 2, where you can have strong T and CT sides. However, in theory, I would actually say the T side is easier if you play it correctly. Right,
so NaVi's defences being stretched thin. They will survive with 3 weapons from the previous round, which means they can drop for their comrades, but supplies will be low. Rations are limited. People are fighting for bread, Dan.
The bread is also moldy. That's how bad it is.
It's not good. It's definitely bad.
Moldy bread is out. And now we have Cloud9 looking at a bit of a default round at the moment, although that said, they're not really peeking into mid. They are sending the man, the mechanical man, Shroud, straight up B plateau looking for those frags. And this is quite a common play. If you've got one guy who's particularly mechanically gifted, just as is Shroud, you want to send him up there, and he's going to take down Edward straight away. Edward, perhaps the linchpin of the defense of B, is now being removed. And Cloud9 are starting to find options also all over the place there. The push through drop has rewarded Sean Gares with a kill, and we finally have a response coming in from NaVi. They're going to tie things up a little bit. They are down a man though, and the bomb is making its way towards A, up the CT ramp, as we have Zeus and flamie trying to get themselves in there, and they will just about be able to take down Sean Gares, making it a 2-on-2. But positionally right now, Cloud9 aren't looking too shabby, but flamie in with such a fast frag, that will change everything. But in comes Skadoodle, he misses a shot, and well, he dies. Doesn't get a chance for another shot, so yeah, that is unfortunate.
I was going to say, you could argue that Skadoodle being left last is worst case scenario for NaVi, but that one time you miss that AWP shot, it's a long time before you can take a second one. NaVi claw themselves around. 2-round deficit to Cloud9 now. Money looking limited for both sides, in fact.
And too bad for Cloud9 that Sean Gares didn't get a single kill, even though he had a forward position in connector, and NaVi had no clue that it was there.
I think he got 1 kill.
Oh, maybe he did.
I think he got 1 kill early on in that round. But again, Shroud looking to harass around the smoke. But Edward's not watching the edge, and Shroud gets a split-second advantage, which allows him to find the dome. Advantage Cloud9. Minute 20 on the clock for them to capitalize on this. Can they get more frags elsewhere? Again, they're going to leave Shroud to lurk, but because of the nature of the B-bomb site, it will leave NaVi with at least 2 people there for now. And Cloud9 seem to be headed in that direction as well, although quietly. No flanks coming in yet. NaVi starved of information. No sight of the bomb. And are we going to see a push through the smoke? Freak and teammate are facing the wrong way. Maybe just in case there are some counter flashes from these CTs. There's a Molotov coming in. That's going to force Zeus away, leaving him on only 16 HP. And he's got to be very careful here. Even if he sprays through the smoke and the spray comes back, he could die just as his teammate did in the underpass.
Oh, very good peek though, just at the key timing. Guardian laid out a distraction for Zeus to take advantage of, and these players peeking in, looking for these angels. It's not working out right now. Nothing's the only one standing for Cloud9, and he's trying to just remedy that straight away, but it'll be flamie who has the right medicine, and he will apply it.
Crucial kill from flamie there, killing the lurker that pushed out of drop zone, because if he gets the kill onto flamie, it means they will be able to push Guardian from both sides at the same time.
From the back.
Lurk got murked.
Nice. 1-round advantage for Cloud9. The lead continually being eroded by the sea of NaVi. Zeus with only the HE, so you can see the nades limited on the CT side. Maybe not as many smokes and other objects as they would have liked, but we'll see if they can continue to find the frags. Shroud down to 50 HP here, which will make his look a bit more difficult.
Shroud's position is very cool because he has to outplay them with such a small amount of variables to work with. His aim, of course, being chief amongst them, and he will go down after a trade. But that 1-for-1 is excellent work by Shroud. That's exactly what he's there to do. At minimum, get that 1-for-1. And now NaVi's defense is spread out a little bit. Guardian's going close. This could be disastrous. Skadoodle has the angle, and Guardian is dead.
He must have surely seen him cross, unless he was Skadoodle adjusted his position, so it may have been easier than Guardian would have liked in that position. Again, a man advantage for Cloud9. He's playing it close, trying to play on the sound cues, spraying the players as they go past, as was done to him in the underpass. But this time, he's not going to find a connection, and it's going to be a save for NaVi once more.
Yeah, the double AWP for Cloud9 is an interesting choice indeed. FREAKAZOiD on the AWP. Now, I like that NaVi are just going for a save with 3 players left, recognizing, respecting that they can't do anything from this position, and instead banking in the next round instead. And I'm not sure, where do you think that they can start to stop the erosion threat?
Yeah, they're in a very tough spot where Cloud9 is basically beating them on both sides of the map. They're playing 2 people on A, and they just lose the trades every single time. The same goes for the B plateau. So maybe they just should focus on one area at a time. Maybe have 3 players on A in the beginning, try to go super aggressive, try to gain some information, because they can't really spread out the way they're doing it right now. They have to take some risks.
Is it worth them going for a boost in the drop zone?
That might actually be a good idea. Maybe not right away, but after a few seconds.
Alright, well, they've got numbers passing the drop zone, and they're going to be playing the drop zone itself solo for the time being. So again, NaVi have been information poor, and they've been paying for it again. Shroud going for it. I'm surprised they haven't gone for a simple double nade in that position, actually.
Well, he's been mixing up his timings a little bit, just ever so slightly. That's actually what's really cool about Shroud's play here. His job is basically to try to out-mind game the guys on NaVi's side, because he has very small amounts of things to work with. It's like when the smoke goes away, is he on the left of the smoke, on the right of the smoke, on the right or left of the box? How far, is he? Are they going to commit into him? There's so many little things there for Shroud to play with to try to outsmart and out shoot NaVi there. And this round he's playing way slower. I actually like that a lot from Shroud, because he's been getting aggressive kills there quite often.
Yeah, he might be expecting the double nades himself, because you saw he fired a few shots and then moved away from the position, so I think he was trying to bait any nades that NaVi might have had. Although NaVi, they had the Molotov which they threw. Other than that, they had smokes and the odd flash here or there. They've actually exhausted their entire inventory already. Although I say that, there's only 30 seconds left here for Cloud9 to try and get some significant advantage. Guardian missing the spray. That was a great opportunity, and it's going to be 2 AWPs to deal with. Gares taking the kill first.
Yeah, and the response is coming in here for NaVi, but will it be good enough? That's really the question, as they are all piled up against the doors, and these horrendously awkward and uncomfortable positions. And again, you have to just love how Cloud9, how they're approaching this. For example, as we saw, Shroud went a little bit more defensive on B plat, but also they had Gares in the early timings actually AWPing down. So if they were going to try to play close or abuse Shroud, Gares is going to get an AWP pick. They wouldn't expect an AWP.
Yeah, it's very smartly played there from Cloud9. I really like how they were going for the A fake to the B push. They had 2 players with the bomb towards the B plateau, but as soon as Skadoodle saw one guy rotating through connector towards the B side, Gares just made a call. Okay, let's just go for A instead. Both the players towards B rotated back, and there was only a Guardian down in mid waiting for them on A.
So far, so good for C9, extending the lead once more. 3-round lead for now. Again, money difficult. It's an arduous task for NaVi on the CT side at present. And they will be leaving CT spawn with only 2 rifles. Guardian sees lacking armor. Again, so many retreats. I'm surprised they're still in the country.
Okay, we're going to have Edward. He's pushed up this time. Now this should surely be the opportunity. Indeed, Edward will finally get the better of Shroud. He'll finally take down that pesky player. But unfortunately, it's in a round where they don't have a lot to work with. They will get the AK, which does help indeed, but still much more work to be done. And Gares is there with the response. Edward had no escape. Very well played by Gares to get what is a guaranteed frag after the Molotov is thrown. And now Cloud9, they just need to build into an advantage towards the B plat. They got the weapons, so let's see if they can use them.
4-4. And again, just still 2 pistols. There is a man down. His name is Shroud. However, his gun is not retrievable at the moment, as there are many C9 players upon his person. Sean getting a kill onto Guardian as fREAKAZoiD starts to push in for the lurk. Zeus taking him down, so they'll pick up one gun at the very least. flamie coming in with that last M4. Seized will use that distraction to take down Skadoodle, leaving only nothing versus 3. And Zeus will find the final frag there to keep NaVi just 1 round away as we move into the last round of the first half.
And if the score is 8-7, this could very likely go into overtime, because it just seems like these 2 teams are so evenly matched on this map.
Yeah, really cool to see. Cloud9 in the last round maybe could have tried to use more options than just going for the straight B plat play, but something we can talk about later on as we go into the last round of the first half. And we will see Cloud9 lacking on their weapons in comparison, but Skadoodle's on an AWP. They got a couple of Tech 9s. They should be fine here, and Shroud's going to pick up the kill onto Edwards. So again, Shroud being consistent. That 1-for-1 trade has often been opened up by Shroud. And now Cloud9, they're in a situation where a lot of the skill falls onto how well can our callers call mid-round here. How well can we use the information that we've gained earlier into the round. And Seized, as we can see here, is the only real option here for NaVi's defense. They are going back with 2 players from Connector towards the A-bomb site. So NaVi with a timely rotation, but will it be enough?
Right, so Skadoodle getting the first frag onto Zeus. Meanwhile, Seized will eliminate Sean Gares. Guardian will spot a player on the site there, but it's going to go back, take down Skadoodle. Again, that's of course a very important frag. Man advantage only for a few seconds. Nothing will trade. flamie getting the advantage over Nothing now, and it's down to 1 versus 1. Seized with a kit versus fREAKAZoiD with only a Tech 9, though he can play the close quarters. He's dinked him already, 54 HP left for Seized. And again, fREAKAZoiD already in the 1-tap distance with the Tech 9. If Seized is forced to push around the corner, he might even be at a disadvantage at this point.
Perfectly done by fREAKAZoiD, sorry. I really liked how because in that position he kind of, I think, gambling a little bit on which side you peek is very smart, because he waited long enough that it is very likely that Seized is going to be around one of the sides. And so by gambling and peeking left, he actually finds out, okay, he's actually not on the wide peak, which means he has to be all the way around. So he kind of actually predicted it correctly, I think. I actually like how Freak played that. But 8-7, will we see the overtime? I mean, it's pretty early to call that.
Yeah, it's one of those duels where you can play it correctly, but in the end, it usually just comes down to a simple aim duel.
Yeah, yeah. Okie dokie.
Yeah. And that's that makes things awkward for Seized, because obviously, if you consider the running accuracy of the Tech 9, that's a significant advantage while you're dancing left and right. So it's just a 1-round advantage for Cloud9 going into half-time. And you can see there, only 1 defuse on the from the NaVi side. A lot of guns being fired, which dictated much of the pace. So we should be starting the second half soon. So what can we expect to see from NaVi on the T side? Have any opinions?
They're going to play way slower than Cloud9. I'm sure of that. We're not going to see the anti-eco where they just rush drop zone. I think they're going to play way more passive, play more standard T-Cobble, basically.
Are you expecting them to have a person causing shenanigans over towards T main, as we saw from Shroud? Because we see that from, say, Flipside with Simple, but do NaVi have like an equivalent player on their side to do the same?
flamie or Edwards?
I don't know, really. That's actually a good question. Maybe they are one of the teams that's not doing it every single round. We have seen some like different styles towards the B plateau where maybe you don't push through the smoke, you have one guy just spamming through the smoke in the beginning, trying to deny them going up on the actual plateau. And one round as T, usually you're gonna see the explosion where you just throw one pop flash through the smoke and just push. We didn't see that a single time, I think, from Cloud9. That's probably one of the most common T rounds on Cobblestone.
Yeah, we saw a few like slower spreads on the platform itself. Not really the kind of the lemming train into the sites. So again, yeah, that's one thing I'm very curious about, because I don't feel like NaVi are the kind of team who well, I don't feel like they have a player who kind of fits that description of Shroud or Simple and the way the two of them would play. on the plateau.
Yeah, because usually it's either Freiburg or Get Right that does it for NIP as well. I'm trying to think about who it is for all the teams. And like Olaf Meister for Fnatic, for example, does it. You know, they usually is like the most mechanically gifted player because who's most likely to win one-on-ones. So one round I want to ask about is because I think that Cloud9 could have probably squeaked out maybe like a couple extra rounds in this half. I think they had options to do that. For example, there was the situation later into the first half where I think it was Edward who got into like a really tight position on B plant. He actually managed to kill Shroud for free. Then Sean Gares tosses in the incendiary, and of course this is like a really terrible buy for the CTs. And you know Sean Gares gets the kill, so it's 4-on-4 at that point, and then we just get Cloud9 just go for a B. Just like they just walk into plateau and go B. Now, when you're in a position of the CTs, it feels like they have to gamble if they want to win the round. So they have to rotate everyone almost if they want to win the round. So do you think that they should have played that differently, or?
Yeah, I mean it really depends if they had control of A long or mid, because if they control that, it's still likely that NaVi is going to be 1 or 2 players towards the A site. But I actually agree with you, as if you damage a player that much, I don't know if they actually know if they damaged him. Because if you have 17 HP and you're playing the B plateau, surely you're going to call for backup. You're not going to play B alone with 17 HP. But I think it really depends if Cloud9 actually knew they did damage to Edward or not.
Well, they killed him eventually as well. I think Sean Gares got the op shot on him. He tossed in the incendiary.
Or maybe I'm thinking about another round. I'm thinking about the round where they threw a Molotov, sprayed through the smoke, and he had 17 HP and hide.
He's behind the box.
Yeah, this is different round.
Yeah, I know which round you're talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about a different round. Awkward, guys. Oh, that moment when you realise that neither of you are talking about the same thing. All right, well, we should be back into it momentarily.
While we have a short delay here, we could look at what's upcoming in the second half of today's broadcast. We have 3 more matches coming your way. So after Cloud9 versus NaVi, we're going to have Fnatic versus Team Liquid, which will be fun, unless your name's Team Liquid. NIP versus TSM, and then the winner of those 2 matches will go up against each other. So those will all be happening today. But again, don't have much information as to what the delay is at the moment, but hopefully we will be underway soon. So we're about to go into the second half right now, which is great.
Nice.
Okay, it's game time. Let's check out the buys. Skadoodle's on the defuse kit.
3 HEs.
Well, we're going to see the raid boss.
The B
Who's going to be
players?
Zeus, drop the Tech 9. Come on. Oh, there we go. Seized.
Seized is raid boss of the day, it seems. Okay.
This is actually quite cool because Cloud9 have 3 HEs, likely towards the B-bomb site. And actually the push is coming into towards A, so NaVi, quick smoke on the doors. This looks quite good for them. They should get the bomb down guaranteed, it would seem, but no. There are CTs by A long who are impeding the progress of these T players from NaVi. And trades back and forwards, 2 versus 2 now, as Edward will just squeak it out to 1 more player being down, which is Skadoodle, and now Sean Gares evens it up as well. So 1 versus 1. And nice little flick there from Sean Gares. The in-game leader of Cloud9 delivers on the pistol in that little 1-on-1.
That was really good repositioning actually from him, because he stops the bomb plant from happening, but stops the rotation to the other side as well, unless he goes for the crawl space.
And this is only good for Cloud9 now, if they manage to win this round. And it is actually quite tricky to win versus the force buy from the T's. And we're going to see a Galil drop to Edward.
Ooh.
Alright, so he's going to be the round 2 raid boss, it seems. If such a thing exists.
Yeah.
He has Scout 2, MP7s, and M4, and the FAMAS to go up against. So it's not going to be easy.
The Glil raid boss is legit. Let's see how well it fares. FREAKAZOiD is up the stairs. Well, Edward be faster on the trigger. And well, Zeus is there to help him out as well. So he didn't lose any health. And they will spot what's going on as well with Cloud9. And they are starting to rotate, but they could get abused here because Cease is in position. Drop zone is being vacated. Cease could just fall straight in there.
Used and abused. But he may hear the rotation coming down T main. There's been no resulting engagement there just yet. Losing a player elsewhere. But Edward's positioned himself well. Skadoodle gets caught completely unawares there. Nothing will take down Seize the Lurker. So it's just left to flamie now versus 3. Will pick himself up a weapon. But nothing's holding an angle. And he is between a rock and a hard place. That crawl space is his only Sanctuary at the moment. The baits will come in, and the switch will come in from behind. Nothing finding the last frag.
And I think we're gonna see more and more of the Galil or AK drop to one guy with armor, because first we saw, after the SMG buff, it's made it way harder to play the Tech 9 armor rush. And now people are starting to counter the SMG buy with buying AK and dropping it to another player. So I wouldn't be surprised if more teams do that. It was really close that NaVi would have won that round.
Well, NaVi forced onto the eco now, which will put Cloud9 on significant numbers. Unless NaVi can pull something out of the hat here. We have smokes going down by the CTs, but maybe NaVi can use this to their advantage. A pop flash is going to come in, and that's going to be a full flash onto Shroud, but they can't get out fast enough. They're still in the choke point. Shroud's still got the crossfire going on with a teammate. Nothing goes down. Shroud finds himself one frag, going for the second one. That's the bomb down, courtesy of Sean Gares, just leaving flamie with 8 HP. And he will fall with only one frag onto Cloud9.
Oh, pretty solid. Pretty solid stuff there. And that's going to be the 11-7. 7-11. As we have the AKs brought up for NaVi. And the AWP on Skadoodle is definitely quite scary, but it's not necessarily as super useful on the B side as some teams would like it to be, especially when all the grenades are hitting. So we'll have to see how NaVi approach this. If they just go for the open angels, Skadoodle could find himself some nice fragging, but they should be able to subvert his angels with some good use of grenades. We'll have to see how that comes into play now, because here comes the standard kind of dual player just looking for those frags. It is Edward indeed. There's the flick, and now they know. They know what's going on right now. It is Skadoodle up there with the North.
Indeed, and he will adjust his position accordingly. Zeus peeking through the corner of the smoke there. That will not prove to be in his favor. Left with 32 HP and doing 0 damage. Nobody touched at all for Cloud9 just yet, until FREAKAZOiD will change things, going down to Guardian. So 4 versus 4. Just shy of a minute on the clock here for NaVi to play with, for NaVi to rotate the bomb and take a relevant decision.
That frag was onto FREAKAZOiD changed everything. See, NaVi slowed down because they knew if they waited, that Cloud9 have to force and split their defense. That's exactly what happens now, and nothing has to come out huge. He does. He gets 2 quick kills. Sees them flamie go down. Now they have an advantage, all thanks to nothing, but it is swiftly